Dolls, mannequins, and statues are not for everyone. Human beings have always been obsessed with recreating human life, but they don't always get it right. Dolls, especially those resembling children and babies, lie on the thin line between cute and creepy. This response is called the uncanny valley. It is when something so closely resembles a human that it can cause unease and discomfort. So you see, the idea of dolls being haunted is not so far-fetched. Today, we'll talk about 5 of the most haunted dolls to have existed. Robert the Doll. If you watched my Cursed Items video, then you may be familiar with Robert the Doll. It was the early 1900s in Key West, Florida, and Robert the Doll was given to a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto on his birthday by his grandfather. The boy and his doll became inseparable. The relationship was so close that Robert the Doll would regularly take the blame for Robert the boy's mishaps. From early on, adults began to notice some strange occurrences. They noticed that Robert the Doll would mysteriously change positions or even move around freely. The doll would frown if Otto was being scolded or mistreated. When Otto and the doll were alone in the room, they could hear them conversations with a completely new voice coming from the doll. Oddly, the relationship continued into adulthood, which many found strange. Otto grew to become an artist, and Robert stayed loyally by his side until Otto died in 1974. Robert the Doll continued his creepy antics even after his best friend was laid to rest. Robert was eventually donated to a museum where he became famous and people from all over the world flocked to see him. He was even the inspiration for a Hollywood horror film. Legend has it that whoever mocks or takes photos with him will begin to experience some very bad luck. It was not after that Robert began to receive apology fan mail. People would beg him to remove his curse if they were to encounter negative experiences after mocking him. It appears that Robert the Doll is one to still hold grudges. Annabelle. If you watched the 2013 film, you have a general idea of Annabelle. The real Annabelle was a Raggedy Ann doll, not the porcelain doll depicted in the movie. It is said that a demon lies trapped within Annabelle. Like other haunted dolls, Annabelle could be spotted mysteriously changing positions and showing up where she was not expected. Annabelle's previous owners would also find pieces of paper with handwritten notes asking for help. The owners discovered that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle had once died in their apartment, and her spirit resides in the doll. However, that wasn't really the case, and it is said that the innocent spirit that it claimed to be was actually possessed by a demon, and the notes are her plea to be released from the evil demon. The owners asked for help from the famous Ed and Lorraine Warren, the supernatural investigators that were also depicted in the movie, to help rid them of the demon. A priest was called to perform an exorcism, and shortly after, Annabelle was donated to the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut. She was donated in a glass enclosed display case with a note stating positively "do not open." While Annabelle was on display, a visitor suffered a fatal motorcycle accident while leaving the museum after taunting her. A vengeful spirit indeed. In 2020, there was a widespread rumor that Annabelle had escaped the museum and was nowhere to be found. Could it be that the innocent spirit has finally been released to live in peace, or is the demon still at work? You decide. The Voodoo Doll. We cannot talk about haunted dolls without mentioning Voodoo Dolls. Not any single doll in particular. We're talking about all dolls associated with voodoo dark magic. Revenge is commonly what comes to mind at the thought of these rag dolls. You might be surprised to find out that voodoo is a real religion practiced in various parts of the Caribbean, Haiti, and Louisiana. The roots of the religion can be traced back to West Africa. The origin of the voodoo doll is not to use them as effigies for inflicting harm on others, but instead, the dolls in the voodoo religion was used as a medium for healing and communicating with dead loved ones. The dolls are typically made of sticks and scraps of cloths to resemble human figures, and may contain belongings to the person that they are invoking, such as pieces of hair. Where there is light, there will surely be darkness. Those with wicked intentions use voodoo dolls to harm their enemies and complete their pacts with evil spirits. It is safe to say the voodoo dolls for today have very little to do with the voodoo religion. The idea is that the doll will depict a particular person on whom the magic is to be performed on. Okiku the Doll. Okiku is the name of the 2-year-old girl for whom the doll was bought from her older brother. The year was 1918, and Japan had not yet transmitted into the technological age. Fables and mythology were very much a part of daily life, and the people accepted supernatural beings such as ghosts, goblins, and demons as a part of everyday culture. So it was not uncommon for dolls to be used as instruments of powerful magic. 1 year after Okiku was gifted her doll, she tragically died from a severe case of the flu. Her family created a shrine in their home to honor and remember her, and as time went by, they noticed that the doll's hair had grown from a short bob cut to long and matted. The family was perplexed, but the strange occurrences continued. On occasion, the family would dream of Okiku and wake up to find the doll by their side. The town head would later confirm to the family that Okiku's spirit was trapped in the doll. This news comforted the family, and they became used to the doll's energetic spirit within the doll. They viewed it as exceptional magic that permitted them to feel close to their daughter even after her passing. The family eventually moved from their home, but kept the doll in the hands of a temple not far from Okiku's grave. The doll is still on display at the temple, where she gets hundreds of visitors every year. Her hair still continues to grow, and the priest will give her a trim whenever it's necessary. According to recent updates, Okiku has recently started her new phase of development, where her mouth has started opening and tiny baby teeth are barely visible. So far, there hasn't been a definitive proof that Okiku's hair really grows, as there aren't really any pictures to show progression of hair growth, and the monks claim to cut her hair whenever it's needed. It's definitely interesting to say the least, and hopefully, one day, more solid evidence will show if there's truth behind it. Lilly the Doll. Lilly is a German doll from the 1800s. Her eyes are completely black, and she has real human hair sewn into her scalp. An antique dealer noticed Lilly was quite old and decided to purchase her. Strange happenings began once he took Lilly home. He would have horrific nightmares of a little girl having terrible accidents and being inflicted with pain. We don't have much details about these nightmares because the man claimed they were too horrific to speak of. Experts of the paranormal believe that this tortured little girl's spirit resides in Lilly. The man eventually sold her off to an antique shop where she had a very strange encounter with a little girl. The girl came into the shop with her mother, and she sat and spoke to Lilly as if she was a real person for over 3 hours. The girl intently and playfully interacted with Lilly, believing she was a real girl. Lilly's energy was so overpowering that once a woman attempted to remove Lilly from a shelf, and the lady started shaking and repeating that she had to wash her hands. The woman was immobilized and soon began having excruciating pains. Lilly now lives in the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, where the public had experienced her powerful aura for themselves. If anyone lives in Las Vegas, or if you have visited Lilly in the museum, then I'd love to hear your experiences on it and if you felt anything paranormal. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching our late night top 5 video. We're a new channel and would love to have your support by subscribing, liking, or simply dropping a comment down below. To watch more interesting late night videos, click the links to continue watching more.